Hey there, Dr. Charlene here, and I want to address something that comes up with my Hashimoto's patients all the time, and that is cortisol and their adrenal function. Some patients come in with their adrenals kind of frazzled and in a hyperdrive, and then some come with adrenal insufficiency, or you might have heard this as adrenal fatigue. And then sometimes their doctors, like their endocrinologists, don't even acknowledge that this is a real problem or that it's a diagnosis that exists, although it does. And so I want to kind of go over what helps and dispel some myths around the adrenals and what they're doing and how important it is to keep them healthy and kind of the process to get them there. So our adrenals pump out a couple of different hormones, primarily cortisol. I'm sure if you're in this space, you've heard about it before, and it's kind of like that fight or flight hormone that we produce. And then we have a couple others, like adrenaline is another one, and there's a few more that we can get into deeper in a different area, but this isn't the platform for that. So we're gonna primarily talk about cortisol in this video, and I want to cover what happens when the cortisol is too high or when the cortisol is too low, and when it should be high and when it should be low. And so it's best when it's higher in the morning. And the reason is because cortisol actually takes over the the blood sugar production in the body and moving it through the cells while we sleep, while we're fasting. So we want our cortisol to be high first thing in the morning, but not like lab high, like off the charts. And when it's low early in the morning, you might find yourself having kind of blood sugar dysregulation, like you're waking up starving, or you're that type of person who needs a midnight snack to get you through the night. That could be an indicator that your cortisol is too low. And then there's a situation where people just don't have enough cortisol and they're kind of flatlined throughout the day. And that's more of this adrenal insufficiency or adrenal fatigue that you might have heard of. And that's when you're just pounding the coffee and the energy drinks all day long and nothing seems to be helping or working for you, and you just are constantly just dragging all the time. And that's because your cortisol has basically been burnt out. Your adrenals are not in a position to make enough and get you through the day or get you through fasting periods, which is one of its primary functions of what it's supposed to do. It's also supposed to supply you with a bunch of energy and blood sugar. If you run into that saber-toothed tiger and you need to get away from it, that's what's going to actually give you the energy to do so. So there are a few solutions that are common out there on the market to get your adrenals into a good place, and those are called adaptogens. And I actually love the name of this class of supplements because they literally help you adapt. So if your cortisol is too high, it's gonna help drop your cortisol and bring you to the place that it's supposed to be. But if your cortisol is too low, then it will help you adapt and it will raise your cortisol as necessary. But remember that timing and dosage matters, as well as the actual herb, the supplement that you're taking, and who makes it and the quality that they're providing. And so I most commonly hear people say when they come into my clinic or they're in my online group and they tell me, hey, I started on ashwagandha. That's probably the most popular adaptogen out there, and it didn't help me, or it made me feel sick. It can cause side effects in some people. Not everybody does well on that supplement. And there are many others out there that are great that maybe people aren't trying, or they're just poor quality. The supplement world is really not regulated, at least in the United States, not in any way, shape, or form. And so you got to be cautious on who you buy from and where they source it and how much and when you're taking these supplements. Because if your cortisol is flatlined and you need it in the morning, but you're taking all of your ashwagandha at night, that may keep your cortisol low throughout the night, or it might spike it too high, trying to get it to adapt and get it into the right place. It might spike it too high, and you're gonna have these awful kind of blood sugar swings where you're feeling hungover the next morning without all the fun. And I wanna also touch on doing your adrenal revival at the right time and how long it takes. This is not a one and done kind of situation. You don't take one bottle of ashwagandha and feel better. You don't take one pill of it and feel better. And it is a long game. I really want you to remember this when you're working on your adrenals, especially if you have Hashimoto's. This is a long game. It is going to take time, and I'm talking a year plus, because it's not just getting the right supplement in. One of the most important steps of healing is to remove the triggers that are causing the problem in the first place. So if your triggers are an unhappy home life, or an unstable job, or you hate your boss, or your kid's school calls you constantly and you can't get anything done, whatever it is, if you are a modern person living in the modern world, you probably have adrenal issues. And so it's going to take a lot of work to actually get you to implement the right processes to heal your adrenals and to get better. And then you need to know the right herbs to take, like I said, at the right time. And in my 4-stage healing process, healing the adrenals is stage 3. There are 2 things that you get to do before you start healing the adrenals. And there's a wonderful side benefit that as you heal those other stages, stage 1 being the immune system and stage 2 being the digestive system, as you begin to heal those stages, your adrenal issues will start to resolve before you even get to stage 3, which is great, but know that there's a process that you have to get there. So if you work on your adrenals now without addressing the immune system or the digestive system first, then you're doing a lot of work and a lot of effort that's probably not going to pay off in the end. All right, I hope this was helpful for you. I am Dr. Charlene and I run the Recovery Blueprint. It is free to join as a guest, and I would love for you to hop into my chat group and see if we can get you feeling better for reals. And as always, be well.